also Honorable DG CD Saab. Sir, we have been trying to develop magnesium forgings for helicopter rotors for more than 2 decades. DeepSeek by Google has discovered in the last 5 years 4 lakh new materials, out of which 700 have been stabilized. So what has been spent billions of dollars and decades of time, it's totally being replaced by AI. If you don't have AI in your workflow, in your daily routine, in whatever business or institution you come from, AI will replace that institution. And as what we aspire to be world leaders, we need to think seriously about it. Thank you so much for all of your time, sir. Thank you.
Sir. So thank you so much. Thank you to the panelists here, sir. Thank you, Mr. Vashish. That was indeed a very thought-provoking and enlightening session. May I now request respected Lieutenant General Vineet Gaur, Param Vishisht Seva Medal, Ati Vishisht Seva Medal, DGCD, and Senior Colonel Commandant, Corps of EME, our Chief Guest for the Conclave, to kindly deliver his concluding remarks for the discussion. The DGCD, sir, please.
I think it was a very enlightening panel, where starting from academia to those who have worked in the defense industry, and also those who have not worked in defense industry but have a large amount of experience in terms of other technologies which can be used for defense. And when I look at Sambhajinagar in particular, and I look at what Indian Army is looking at right now, and I can tell you I am a number of programs where the industry from Sambhajinagar can immediately participate. So we have Future Infantry Combat Vehicle FICV program. We have the FRCV, Future Ready Combat Vehicle, which is a tank, which is going to be the tank of the most modern tank. We are looking at large number of protected mobility vehicles which are going to come in the Indian Army. I believe this auto cluster here has got a huge role right now to plug in into some of the programs that Indian Army or the armed forces are going to be taking on. Even today, let's say a certain quick reaction surface to air missile, when it goes, it requires large number of vehicles. So high mobility vehicles are going to be in demand even for those systems which are going to be mobile and essentially not mechanical systems, but electronic systems are also going to be mounted on them. Which means the already I would say mature automotive cluster which is there in Sambhajinagar can easily plug into all those programs. So the B2B opportunity if in the automotive sector is hugely available to you. You people are already working with the tank industry, and you are already working with the automotive industry. You are also going to be working in the EV space, and I think there is a huge opportunity for the automotive cluster here to plug into the defense requirements. But more important, which I say, is that every system today is if I very rightly brought that it's mechanical plus electronics plus software. So it's mechatronics plus software. If I say that mechatronics plus software is essentially all military systems. So in this entire, all military systems, whether you're talking about radars, you're talking about communication systems, you talk about drones, counter drones, all will get covered into all these three. So if we can start the progress into mechatronics plus software, I think most of the military requirements can be looked into. Whatever academic programs on the new education policy that was referred to, I think that is one part where you are giving leeway for a student to possibly go work with the industry, come back and still finish his degree, or mold his his entire sort of studies to the industry's requirement. That is a good policy, but I would also say that there is a requirement of starting some programs, structured programs. So very rightly he says that you give us the syllabus, okay, let's make that syllabus. You make that syllabus, give it to the academia. Thereafter, let the academic institutions come with programs like BTech in defense electronics, or BTech in any other things which are for the. So it could be a BTech in radar technologies. It could be a BTech in counter drone technologies. It could be a BTech because there was a time when there was no industry to pick these people up, and therefore there was no defense programs. But today it's not so. So why can't we have some structured programs which these IITs and the BTech institutes start, and similarly some MTech programs, and similarly some electives which could be exactly to the requirement of. So it's important that the academic establishments start teaching them as specialization right from the day one, and then it will become easier for the industry to absorb them. It will be easier for the industry to possibly keep upgrading them into a national resource as we move forward. So that's one part as far as academia is concerned. As far as industry is concerned, I think the ability to plow money back into R&D. R&D cannot be alone the responsibility of the government. And I think that's the wrong way of looking at it. Why should government only fund R&D? Why can't those who earn out of the government money in terms of contracts coming from government also invest and plow back some money into their own R&D? And I think that's important, that today, if you are growing by a certain percentage, why don't you take out a certain part of your earnings and plow it back into certain R&D? So I think it's a whole of nation approach. That means the R&D also has to be funded by all agencies. It can't be only left to the government. And academic establishments in any case have got certain amount of R&D funds. DRDO, as rightly brought about, is also got the R&D capability. But I think the basic lies in one thing which it's the elephant in the room, is the skill. And I think that skill we need to work on. There is no shortcut to skill. And I find that the skill set is missing. And most of the time, that's the reason you go into getting something which is there from foreign countries, integrate and make a business out of it and sell it to the world or sell it to your own country. But I think the ability lies in starting something, failing, and thereafter again starting, and finally coming to a state where you start succeeding. All R&Ds in the world have just about 10% success rate. So how do you expect that you will start an R&D and it will be 100% successful the day one? It won't. So we have to have this ability to start our R&Ds and fail, restart, fail again, restart, and finally reach there. And the ability of all establishments to accept that failure, handhold while the failure is happening, and yet reach there where we want to reach. And I think collectively we have to take that responsibility, that we will not let that MSME or a startup lose heart by either a venture capitalist or a DRDO or an academic establishment to keep hand-holding that industry, keep hand-holding that talent till the talent succeeds. And that's I think is the way forward, that we will not let the startup close, we will not let the MSME close its effort towards indigenization in terms of having an indigenous technology or in terms of having an IP on a certain system or a subsystem. And I think if we take collectively that responsibility and we say that if you are a startup, the closure of the startup rate has to come down. The rate with which the startups are coming up and the rate with which they are closing, I think you have to bridge that gap, that the startups will not close. It's our collective responsibility that we let those startups and the MSMEs keep working on those technologies, while the bigger technologies also is not only the responsibility of DRDO, but is also the responsibility of the Tatas and the L&Ts and the Reliances and the Adanis and all. So everybody has to work towards this cause, that we have more IPs, we have more supply chains which are under our own belt, and we create an ecosystem on the defense manufacturing ecosystem where the entire thing is on us. Today, if you look at the export potential, 75% of the export which India is doing, 38,000 crore worth of export, comes from defense private industry. It's only 25% which comes from the public sector. Whereas the orders are just the opposite. Today, 70% orders by the Indian MOD go to, as of now, are going almost 65 to 70% orders are going to the defense public sector. And the private sector is getting around 35-40%, But when it comes to exports, it's almost 65 to 70% exports are happening by private industry. Only 35 happening by the public. That means the capability exists for you to be world class. And unless you become world class in terms of defense manufacturing ecosystem, unless you produce it which is acceptable to the world, it will not be a journey which will be fully accomplished. If you can make it for the world, India in any case will buy from you. And you should look at as a defense manufacturing ecosystem, not only looking at your own government, not only looking at your own armed forces, but look at the armed forces of the world. That's your market. And if you start making for the world, it is easy for us for you to firstly diversify your market, and also at the same time your options in terms of the market, and also finally having this little bit of leeway of keep developing into a better technology as the time goes by. Thank you very much, and I think thank all the people here. I am enlightened by your presence and by your remarks, and I'm sure the audience also is equally enlightened by this. Thank you very much for calling me here.